Today we will be discussing what some would call a budget mic and headset. We'll be running some tests on them and comparing them to some higher end microphones. If you do anything with YouTube, podcasting, or anything audio pretty much, you know the importance and the value of having really good audio and how it's kind of a non-negotiable thing, which is kind of a problem for people like me that are on a really thin budget because as you may know, really high quality audio stuff is pretty expensive. First of all, we will be discussing the portable USB microphone kit. This is sold by Maono, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and these studio headphones that they send with. They sell them separately, but it's preferable that you buy them together as kind of a package deal. That's actually how they want you to buy it. All right, let's go over what the company describes or advertises these products as, like the different perks that the company says that they have, and then we'll actually test it and see if that's true. So some details about the mic. It features a cardioid polar pattern. Essentially is a design that reduces pickup of sounds from the sides and improves the insulation of the sound source, making a clearer and more realistic sound. The gain is easily adjustable. They say that it has a built-in high-resolution sound chip. It's compatible with Windows and Mac, and my personal favorite, it is a plug-and-play, which basically means you jam that puppy in your computer, voila, you're good to go. It sets up automatically, you just hit record. Now, some details about the studio headphones. They say that it has good insulation, it has 50mm large drivers, it has a very balanced output, so very broad frequency range. It goes from about 20 megahertz to 20 kilohertz, which is pretty standard for studio headsets. They say it has fully enclosed ear cups, so completely over ear. It also comes with a 3.5mm aux plug-in and a 6.35mm plug-in, which is more for like the amp plug-in. So we're going to discuss one product at a time, and then I'll give you my opinion on it, and then we'll move to the next one, and then we'll wrap the video up. First, about the microphone. I'm going to record a bunch of samples for you. I'm going to give you my opinion, but ultimately you're going to be the one that makes the final call. I would recommend you use like headphones or really good earbuds, because if you're listening through a computer or through your phone, you're going to have a harder time being able to pick up like the really dynamic sides of this, which is very important. Unboxing this mic, it is pretty clearly a budget setup. It's very minimal, it's lacking some features, and it feels pretty cheap, honestly. But I really don't care about those things as long as the audio sounds good. The plug and play works perfectly. I've never had any issues with it whatsoever. The gain knob is pretty normal. Basically, I didn't see anything that I was surprised by on this thing. It's very minimal, but like I said, it is a little bit cheaper, so let's look at some drawbacks to a cheaper microphone like this. It does not have an aux plug-in into the actual mic, which is something that higher end mics tend to have. It's very nice for setup because you can just plug that in. You don't have to hit record or anything. You can hear how it sounds. You'll have to run everything through your computer, all the audio, which is totally fine. It just means the setup is going to take a little bit longer. Now let's talk about the actual audio. For what this mic costs, the chipset is actually pretty decent, but with any cheaper microphone like this, you're going to lose the crisp, the sharp edges that give it that really precise feel. And you'll see that in the tests that we run. I'll make sure and emphasize that so you can hear it. So for the test, I'll be reading the same script back to back so you can hear it on one and then on the other. I'll be comparing it with the Blue Yeti. Let's get some perspective here. So the Blue Yeti costs like 4 to 5 times as much as this microphone. So keep that in mind when you hear the audio qualities. I'm going to be getting pretty close. I don't want the gain to be too high because the laptop fan is actually running right now, which is right behind the mic. So for some of the previous tests I've done, I think the Maono sounds a little flat, like the edges aren't quite as sharp. The S, for example, is not nearly as clear. Say I was going to say something very specific. The Maono makes you feel like you're having a conversation with someone. Like they're right across from you with zero background noise. It's just a normal conversation. Sometimes it's good to have a not perfect sound. I think it actually gives a more realistic and personal feel. With some of the previous tests that I've done, I think the Maono sounds a little flatter. The edges aren't quite as sharp. The S, for example, comes out way clearer. Say I was gonna say something essential. Say I was gonna say something very specific. The Maono makes you feel like you're having a personal conversation with someone like who's directly across from you with no background noise. So that's basically like the podcast scenario. Like you're sitting in your sound foam, you're recording a podcast, it's right up next to you. What if you're filming a video like this? Well, it would sound exactly like this. Plot twist, I've been using this thing the whole time, sitting right here. So let me switch them out. It's pretty easy to tell the difference, but make sure you think about the sound quality and like whether or not you like that personal kind of feel, or if you want that like super studio. Now let's say I was recording a video exactly like this. What exactly would that sound like? You actually get a perfect sound of what it's like. It's just sitting right here, right in front of me, down to my right, about 1.5 feet, 2 feet away, and I just turn the gain up. It picks it up great. You can hear the difference. I can't yet. So I'll let you be the judge of what this sounds like versus the other microphone. There's kind of a comparison of what it would sound like, the two mics in a scenario like this, which is how I'm mostly going to be using it. And even with like a instrument, like if I busted out the guitar, it sounds very good. Maybe I'll drop some recordings in of some of the recordings I've done with my guitar. It comes through very clean, very clear. So those are the two tests. I'll let you be the judge of deciding that. Obviously, most people don't have $150 to sink into a microphone like this, especially not people like me that are just, they're not making money from this. It's just a hobby so far. They want to develop their skills before they sink money into something. So, conclusion on this microphone. Personally, I think it performs very well. I was actually very pleasantly surprised versus the cost of what it is. I thought this thing would be trash, but honestly, it performs very well. Compared to the Blue Yeti, it loses, obviously, because the Blue Yeti is like 4 or 5 times expensive. So, I mean, not really a fair contest. So for someone like me, this fits my needs very well without blasting a massive hole in my savings. I love the natural feel to it. It feels like you're just having a conversation with someone. It doesn't sound enhanced. Am I gonna upgrade? Yeah, you better believe it. But for now, I'm content with this microphone. Super duper quick, let's talk about these headphones. These are studio headphones. I've used them pretty much every single day for around a month. So I have a pretty good feel of what these things are like, and I've used them for very long periods of time. So first, the things that I like, and then the things that I dislike. First thing that I noticed right off the bat is the audio is very clean. It's a very wide range of frequency that comes in. So like even low notes sound very clean, and very high notes sound very crisp. You're not losing any detail. It's not like you're using Bose or Beats where the bass is like amplified. I went back to my Beats after using these for like a couple days, and I'm like, yeah, no, not happening. I'm not going back. Like when you listen to yourself talking with these things, it sounds exactly like if your clone was standing there talking to you face to face. They're very comfortable. They don't squish your head. They're very light. They're soft, so you can wear them for pretty long periods of time. The other cool thing is that when you plug them in to your computer, there is zero hum or noise coming in whatsoever from the actual headphones. A lot of headphones, when you plug them in or connect them, there's that slight little hiss or hum that you hear. These things, zero. Now, let's talk about what I dislike about these things. First thing you'll notice is that they're very cheap. They're made with plastic. They claim that they're reinforced and built really good, but they feel really cheap and they look cheap. But as long as the audio is good, like, who cares, right? They don't just come out and say like super noise canceling, but they say very good noise insulation. And I really haven't felt that. The other issue I had was with the over ear part of them. So like where your ear goes inside is very small. In fact, like my ear does not fit inside of this. Like most of my ear was inside of it, but the tops and bottoms were like that was sitting on top of them. It's kind of weird, but like if your ear's on your head like this, if you just like sit them on top, it won't work. Whereas if your ear's like this and you kind of come in on top and like scoop the top part of your ear inside and then fold it in, then they're actually over ear. If I buy something like this again, I'm definitely gonna go with something with a little bit bigger cups. But I do love the sound quality and just the flatness of it and the detail that you grab. Oh my goodness, absolutely love it. Real quick, I just want to remind you guys that a video like this takes around 10 to 15 hours of work. And so if you want to help further my goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber, simply dropping a like or a comment on this actually goes a really, really long ways. But those are the two products. That is my opinion on them. They've got some strengths, they've got some weaknesses. Hopefully that narrows down your perspectives. It narrows down your options, hopefully gives you a better feel for what you want to go for. If you want to research these headphones and this mic better, I have the links down in the description so you can look at their webpage. You can see all the details there. Totally up to you. Just want to give you guys a informative look of what you would be purchasing from this. So as always, stay creative and I'll see you in the next video.